What's happening, everybody? It's time for another automotive unboxing video. This time we have a switch panel to open up. I was so excited to get this when I saw an ad on Facebook. I was like, that looks really cool. So I looked into it, and here we are, 3 days later. We got it. First things first, figure out how to open this. So right now I have uses for 5 of the switches, I believe. 5 or 6. And that gives me plenty of room for expansion later on. There we go. Okay, first thing we see when we open the box, we have what looks like a quick start guide. Yeah, we have a set of 50 stickers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the stickers on that I'll be using first, and then I'll be using the blackouts for the rest until I'm ready to use the rest. So, good deal. Alright, second thing we see that pops out right away is the fuse box. It's a very clean fuse box. That's how you connect it right there. Connect all the terminals. It has 2 5 amp, 2 10 amp, 2 20 amp, and 2 30 amp circuit breakers. Positive and negative connections for each. You have the large, I believe this is 6 gauge or 4 gauge positive and negative connectors that go right to the battery. And then there's a 60 amp circuit breaker down below. And then there's the accessory wire. This is to turn on the fuse box whenever you turn the key into first or second accessory, so that this is not always on. Alright. I like the feeling of these switches. 8 switches, a master switch, red LED indicators for power, and then the dimming sensor, because this has auto dim instead of having a manual wire to dim, which I really like. Mounting hardware, screws and whatnot. Here's the main bracket for it. This is to mount it to the dash or headliner, for example. I'll be using this one for, let's see, this bolts up like that. Yep. This goes on like so. Instead of drilling into my dash, I'm just going to be using adhesive for this and hope it stays. If not, I'll move it. Alright, here's the connector harness to connect the switch panel to the fuse box. We have quite a few zip ties, looks like 10 or 12 maybe. And underneath this, we have all the wiring. Here we have the 2 60 amp fuses for the circuit breaker. And then this looks like probably 6 gauge wire. 6 gauge, 8 gauge, right around that. It's a pretty beefy circuit breaker. And so yeah, this just goes right up to the battery. Nothing more to it. Other than that, it looks like that's all in the box. Let's see what we're looking at in this. Okay, yes, so that is the included fuse, and then the 2 other 60 amp fuses, in case you blow this one. So it doesn't look like it's a circuit breaker, it just looks like it's a little fuse panel. So the circuit breaker, you would just flip the switch if it popped. This is some very nicely constructed wire. Heat shrink and everything. It's all waterproofed. Connectors are clean. And so on. And then that's it in the box. So let's go see what we're dealing with outside. Actually, that's not it. Never mind. It felt a little bit heavy. This is a second mounting bracket, just in case the first bracket doesn't come in handy at all. I will be using the first bracket to mount it. And that's that. Let's go install this thing. Here's a look inside the very cluttered engine bay. Less cluttered than there was before, so there's a little bit more room to work with. But my guess is the fuse box is going either somewhere down there or somewhere up by the battery up here. I feel like I kind of want to zip tie it around the battery just so it has easy access. It wouldn't look too tacky, but I feel like it would be better off since it's easier access to anything in case a fuse blows or whatnot. That'll help me get rid of most of these wires up here, having the fuse box relatively close. Here's the setup. I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to mount this, but I do have an idea. And then let's go ahead and spot the fuse box first. So you can see plenty of zip ties. Okay. Something like this or this possibly. Could also hide it over there somewhere, but there's not much room to work with on this side. The wires aren't long enough to run from the battery over to the other side either. It would be way more convenient to, I believe it would be way more convenient to run it to this side just for ease of wiring, but let's see what we can come up with. A couple things have been decided. I've decided this is going to be a perfect fit right up here. That's about as perfect of a fit as you can get. Oh, if I didn't show you guys, here's a little reveal for what's coming up. I'm calling this Pathfinder Project 3.0, including none other than apparently cheaply made vinyl wrap that shrinks when it heats up. Obviously wasn't done very well, as you guys can tell, and it's going to look uglier when I take this switch cover off. So yeah, this is going to go under here, and then I put the fuse box, kind of ghetto rigged it right over here in the corner. It's zip tied to the ground wire that goes to the engine block and this little bracket right here. There's quite a bit of play in it. I'm going to figure out what to do with that later on, possibly drill through the fender and, well, drill through the fender wells and then mount it. Bad news is that it's a very convex shape on that side of the engine bay. Same with this one, see all the ridges and everything? Yeah, it's going to be hard to mount it very securely. That's what sucks about Nissans, not much engine space at all. No matter how far I have it stripped down. I'm going to go ahead and mount the switch panel, and I'm going to run a wire through the firewall and then hook everything up and test it.